After a beautiful drive into Moab, we arrived at our RV park and got settled in for the next few days. Moab is one of those places that never gets old. No matter how many times we visit, there's always something exciting waiting around the corner, and this trip was no exception. One of our travel day traditions is skipping the cooking and heading out for dinner, and choosing a restaurant was an easy decision. Every time we're in Moab, we make a stop at Zax Restaurant. It's one of our favorite spots in town, and I already knew exactly what I was ordering. The Tree Hugger Pizza is my go-to, and somehow it gets better and better each visit. After dinner, we headed back to the RV to relax before our big adventure the next day. Garner and I weren't feeling 100%, so I spent the evening working on a knitting project while Finney settled into napping mode. This is how I love to wind down after a day of travel. Normally, we save ice cream until after the adventure as a little reward for a day well spent, but this time we decided to shake things up with some pre-adventure ice cream instead. No regrets. Sometimes the best way to prepare for the excitement is with a scoop of ice cream. We headed over to the tour company location, signed our waivers, and got checked in. Before long, we were climbing into the Hummer and setting off towards Hell's Revenge, ready for the adventure to begin. Welcome to Moab. We are currently in a Hummer on our way to bucket list item number 8, which is Hell's Revenge. Little freaked out about this, not afraid of heights, but I definitely have a very real understanding of falling from heights. So Garner doesn't really know where we're going or what we're doing. He just is along for the ride. So Hell's Revenge, here we come. Hello, Sky. I've been wanting to do Hell's Revenge since I saw some videos about it on YouTube, and it's pretty spectacular. I've got this 360 degrees of just gorgeous view up here. Unfortunately, the sky is not cooperating. However, we did get some rain the last couple of days, which put snow up on the mountains. So we got some beautiful snow-peaked mountains there. But yeah, this is pretty awesome. I have no idea if the video is doing this justice, but the crawls up and down have been pretty intense, and I'm so glad that I'm not driving them. Our driver's doing an amazing job, and I'm just glad I'm not doing them. But this is for sure for anybody who just wants a nice scenic ride, and has a lot of trust in their driver, which I guess we do. Nothing like trusting a stranger, right? Hell's Revenge is one of Moab's most famous off-road trails, known for its steep sandstone climbs, narrow ridgelines, and incredible views over the Colorado River and surrounding desert. It's part of Utah's larger sandstone playground, where ancient dunes have hardened into rock and been carved over millions of years into these dramatic formations. The trail itself is about 6 miles long, but don't let the distance fool you. This is not an easy ride. You'll find near vertical ascents, slick rock ledges, and sections where it feels like you're driving on the edge of the world. That said, you don't need to be an expert driver to experience it. Guided tours and specialized vehicles like Hummers or Jeeps make it accessible for most people, even if you've never done off-roading before. You can also rent UTVs and drive it yourself, which I'll admit felt a little too intimidating for me at the time. But now that I've experienced the trail, I don't think I'd say no to giving it a try. It's a mix of adrenaline and awe, the kind of place where you're just as focused on the terrain right in front of you as you are on the massive, unreal landscape stretching out in every direction. Geologically, Hell's Revenge sits on Navajo sandstone that formed around 190 million years ago, when this area was covered by vast desert dunes. Those ancient sands were buried, compressed, and eventually turned into solid rock that defines Moab's landscape today.
years ago, we had a guy come out in the middle of the night with a chisel and a crowbar and just ripped it out of the ground, unfortunately. Yeah, so there's a camera on the toll booth when you first come in, so they actually saw the guy leaving with it in his truck bed. So they ran the license plate, tracked the guy down. He claimed to have thrown the track into the Colorado River off the Old Dewey Bridge to get rid of the evidence. That bridge is burnt down. So here, 3 toes right here. This is from an animal, likely a Segiosaurus. We don't know for sure. So all that means is that we live closer in time right now to the T-Rex than the T-Rex did to the Segiosaurus, which is insane. They plaster molds back when they first discovered them back in the 90s, which you can't do anymore. There's no way of removing it without destroying the tracks.
Over time, wind and water erosion carved out the domes, fins, and channels you see along the trail, exposing layers of rock that feel almost sculpted by hand. What makes Moab's slick rock so unique is its texture. It's incredibly grippy sandstone, which is why vehicles can climb slopes that look nearly impossible. Despite how harsh it looks, life does exist here. Hardy desert plants like cryptobiotic soil crusts, which are a thin, living soil layer made up of microbes that help hold the desert together. Juniper and sagebrush manage to survive in the thin soils and cracks in the rock, anchoring themselves in one of the driest environments in North America. It's a reminder that even in a landscape this extreme, nature always finds a way to hold on.
The youngest thing you can see, the rock layer we're in right now is about 190 million years old. And all the mountains out there are around 25 million years old.
At the end of our adventure, we wrapped up the day at the Moab Diner. It's a classic roadside spot right in town, known for big comfort food portions and that laid-back, no-frills Moab vibe. After a full dose of adrenaline on the trail, it was the perfect place to sit down, refuel, and come back down to earth. In this video, I feature the Canyon Waves hat. I've made so many of this hat, and if you're interested in the pattern, the link to it is in the description below. You can check that out. But one of the things I want to show you, no matter what kind of project you're doing, if you're working with cables, you want to keep track of what row or round you're on, because cables are really hard to read once they go behind another cable. So if I'm trying to count what row I'm on, and I have to go behind this cable right here, it's really hard to read. So I use stitch markers to mark my fabric to indicate to me where I'm at in the pattern. So for this particular pattern, I know that I'm working a cable every 4th round, and it's an 8-round repeat, so I'm working 2 cables per those 8 rounds. So I'm working a cable on round 4 and on round 8. So that's why I have 2 on here. And you count how many rounds you've worked. So this stitch marker is sitting on the round that was the cable round. So I have worked the cable round on this round. And then there's 1, 2, and 3 sitting on the needle. So I've worked 3 rounds of my plain pattern, and now I'm ready to work another cable. Likewise, because as I said, this particular pattern is a 8-round repeat, I should have worked 7 rounds and ready to work my 8th round, which is a cable. So here's the cable that's been worked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th round is on the needle, which means my next round, my 8th round, is a cable round. So use some locking stitch markers. Keep track on your fabric what round you're on. It is a lot harder to lose track what round you're on when working in the round versus back and forth. And so use those stitch markers, mark your fabric, do what works for you. Me personally, I put my stitch marker on the actual cable round, so that I know that every round above that is what I'm counting. That's me personally, but you find what works for you. Pull out those locking stitch markers, use them, and let them save you from getting frustrated from trying to figure out what round you're on in cables.